Hey, my name is John Barnes. I'm the owner of Sabbath Express and Virginia Beach Express. Those are both local pickup and delivery operations contracting with FedEx. Sabbath Express is in Richmond, Virginia. Virginia Beach Express, obviously, in Virginia Beach. I also own Sabbath Freight Services, which is my line haul operation. We're domiciled out of the Ashland, Virginia terminal in Richmond. Been doing this, got into the FedEx business back in April of 2017, so just celebrated our kind of 5.5 year anniversary, and grown the business pretty aggressively through acquisition, and obviously with COVID, significantly expanded the business. We were a GroundCloud customer for a long time on the turn by turn and then the better. And then we went away for a minute and tried something else. And quite honestly, kind of learned the error of our ways. And we came back. And what really caught my eye was David giving me kind of some insight into what they were doing with RouteStat and integrating that with GroundCloud. And so I asked to get access to it as quickly as possible. And so we upgraded to GroundCloud Pro, and really seen some nice benefits from it. Yeah, I would say all of the above. The first thing that we did was really started paying attention to the average revenue per route that we were generating each day, and we were able to find where we were leaking some revenue. Came up with some pretty aggressive changes to the way we were cutting our routes and dispatching certain routes. We found where maybe we didn't have quite the right personnel in certain places. One of our big examples was I run a dedicated pickup route in Richmond, and we were able to actually pair that with a specialty delivery route that handles things like the University of Richmond. So what I used to run is two separate routes. I was able to combine into one. I was able to improve the average revenue per day of that particular route, but I was also able to improve the average revenue per route of my entire operation. And that's really what we've started judging it on, is where we can push that number higher. And once I realized we could do that, it just led to some other things, and allowed us to be, a little bit more creative and not waste resources. The other thing I was able to do is share that data with my managers and begin to incentivize them that instead of running an additional driver and sending that driver out with maybe 2 or 3 bulk stops that wouldn't fit on another truck, incentivize my managers to take that on, not be sending out another driver. And that's really worked out well for us as well. So yeah, we've seen some nice benefits from it. Starting to work a little bit more aggressively on a day-to-day basis now, figuring out specifically how many routes on a day-to-day basis now. So yeah, I think there were two other things. Number one, the route stat piece, where it boils it down just for the operating statistics to share with the managers, taking the financial piece out, but being able to give them that data, was a big thing for me. I don't want to share necessarily everything, so being able to carve out the particular data points that are relevant to them, I think made a lot of sense. I think the other thing too is the scheduling piece of it has always been a little bit of an analog feature for us, and we're starting to get better at it using some of the pro features. We really were struggling with scheduling up until recently, and now I think we've got a better handle on it, recreating schedules and not having to recreate the wheel every week. I'll tell you the one other thing too is I've been able to contact GroundCloud a number of times and make suggestions about things we'd like to see in Pro, and you guys have been very responsive at taking that feedback into account. I had a conversation recently about one modification to the payroll feature that we'd like to see. We pay, not only do we pay on a per stop basis, but we pay on a per package basis, and they're integrating that now into it for us. So that's the other nice thing, is just having somebody on the other end that takes our feedback seriously and can incorporate it into the system. I would say, the RouteStats thing for us, but I think the other thing is now having, that's the differentiator. we had really gotten into trying various forms of turn-by-turn directions. We, had looked at various better, options. The RouteStats piece of GroundCloud Pro now kind of is the differentiator between all the other technologies that are out there. Having it all in one, the KI dashboard, for the vetters, is probably the most intuitive and easiest to use of the solutions out there. Bringing that all under one umbrella has, as a matter of fact, I got rid of my old vetter contract with another provider. I'm actually still having to pay out through the end of this year, just to switch all of my line haul equipment over to GroundCloud, solely because I found that the KI dashboard was a lot more intuitive and user friendly than some of the other competitors out there. And so again, I've now got my entire operation under GroundCloud. I'm not using anything else. It's all under here for safety, vetter, and the RouteStats piece really was the differentiator and convinced us that this was the right platform for us. First of all, I don't know why they haven't done it already. For us, as soon as that, we were tracking a lot of that data ourselves, and I'm kind of a big Excel guy. We had a lot of spreadsheets that we were tracking a lot of that specific data ourselves. It makes it a lot easier. It's a lot more user friendly. It's a lot more visual, which I like. I'm a big dashboard guy. So I think that, it gives you a better grasp of your business and shows you some things. I would say where we really struggled was trying to pull the data in on a day-to-day basis, compare Mondays across a time period, things like that. Not easy to do when you're tracking it yourself, and it's a very manual process. This just cleaned all of that up. So I would say, if they're not already on it, they need to be. Plug in your data, take the time, get a year's worth of data in there as much as you can. It'll give you insight into the business that you don't currently have.